Hello everyone. So quick review of generally setting up the Photoshop Elements environment. When you come in, the first thing that you want to do is optimize your workspace, which is this area right here. We're going to go down here at the bottom and click on Hide Project Bin. Second thing, over here on the right, you have what's called the palette. We're not really going to be using the effects, but we're going to be using layers, and we're going to be using them extensively. So we're going to click on this little tiny triangle next to the word effects, and we're going to collapse that, opening up more room for our layers. On occasion, sometimes you might accidentally close the layers palette, and if you see, there is a tiny little triangle right here. If you click on it, it will collapse it, but the little tiny triangle is still there, and if you click on it, you can bring it back. You can also go up to the menu bar at the top and go into Windows and make sure your layers palette is showing. You're going to hear me talk about different best friends. Your number one best friend is the undo key. As soon as you do something you do not like, you want to undo it. You can also go from the edit menu and go to do undo, as well as Control Z. In any piece of software, there's always multiple different ways to do anything. On the left are all your different tools. Each of your different tools will have different tool options. That's this bar up here. This is your number two best friend. Again, your number one best friend, undo. Your number two best friend, tool options. So all of your different tools have different options. As you mouse over the tools, the little flyout will tell you what the tools are called. Let the software talk to you. We're not going to be using many of the tools in this middle section right here. These have to do more with photography, and we're not doing photography. We're doing something actually called graphic design. Some of your tools have the little tiny triangles, and the little tiny triangles mean there's more options. There are a couple of different ways to do it. You can long click on them, or you can right click on them and get your different options. For example, on the bottom here, if you haven't switched it to the smudge tool yet, we're going to switch it to the smudge tool because that is a tool we're going to use. However, we're not going to be using the blur or sharpen. On the very bottom, there are two blocks. The top is called the foreground and the bottom is called the background. We're going to ignore the background color. Generally, we are not going to be using that box at all. You're always going to be clicking on the top box. When you click on the top box, you're going to get a dialog box that will allow you to change your colors that you are using for the roster tools. We'll be talking about the two different types of tools later on, but this is the one that we're going to be using first. To change the colors, there are two steps to it. First, you must click within the color strip, and then you will click within the shade box. Now, learning from art as you just came from, every color has several different shades because you are mixing two colors into them or making different tints. So at the top is white, at the bottom is black. Every color is mixed with different percentages of white and black to get all of the different shades. So as you are going through, you can choose exactly the shade that you would like as you click around the shade box. You must click in the shade box to change your active shade. If you don't click and you just click and drag and nothing changes, hit OK, it won't change your color. Now, the tricky one, brown. If you notice, there is no brown. However, and again, learning from art, what do you have to start with to get brown? And the answer is orange. So once you go into an orange, and then you go down and add a bunch of black to that, you may need brown because you are working with possibly some kind of chocolate, and that's what you might be looking for. So I am going to just change it to light green for now. Not worried about anything else. I'm going to start a new canvas. File, new, blank file. You need to make sure that these are set to inches and not pixels. And we are only going to be practicing for right now, so we're not going to worry about naming our document. 8.5 by 11, and your resolution is going to be set to 100. Okay? Now, one of the first things that you want to do is double click where it says Untitled, and it will maximize it and fill the screen. So for right now, you probably don't have a ruler. So if you don't have a ruler, View, and then Rulers, and there you go. You're going to be using your rulers, because unlike working in docs or something like that, you're going to need your ruler to center things and put them in perspective and be able to see the different sizing of whatever you're putting in. A couple other things. Over here on the right, you're going to see that there's a minus. There is, it looks like two little boxes and an X. This is closing the file, where up at the top here, you're closing the software. So if you were to close something or minimize something and you hit the minus sign and it looks like it goes away, it's actually down here in the project bin, and we can collapse that and bring that back. It's always best to actually work so that you can see everything. However, you might need to zoom in and zoom out at different points. So the first tool we're actually going to talk about is the zoom tool. So when I click on the zoom tool and then click on my canvas, it will zoom in, and you can't really tell anything too much other than if you look at the ruler, all of the little hash marks that are across looks like they expand. It will expand all the way up to 3200%. For the most part, you're never really going to need it to be zoomed in that much, but you are going to need to zoom in and zoom out at different points. The best option to work in generally is this one right here, the fit screen. That will put your image so that you can see the entire image all at once. But as you are working into your detail work, you can go back to your zoom tool, zoom in and zoom out accordingly by clicking as needed.